Men, Metal, Mayhem, the podcast where the Brothers Men take a deep dive into the discographies of our favorite metal bands. I'm your host, Brother Paul, and today I am flying solo and bringing you a special bonus episode. A few weeks ago, I had the pleasure to sit down and interview guitarist Johan Reinholdz about NonExist's 2002 debut album, Deus Deceptor. This is an album we had previously covered in Season 1.5, Selected Cuts, and Johan came on to talk about the formation of NonExist, the writing and recording process, and share his honest opinion about one of his earliest works. So please, enjoy this bonus episode. Today, I am joined by the fantastic Johan Reinholdz of Dark Tranquility, Andromeda, and most importantly, NonExist. Johan, welcome.
Hello.
Thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Today, we are going to go back in time almost 25 years to talk about one of my favorite underrated gems of the 2000s, NonExist's Deus Deceptor.
All right. Yeah, that's a long time ago.
Yes. It was released in 2002 via Newhaven Records.
Yeah, I don't know why he spelled like that, because it was supposed to be New Haven.
Yeah.
But because there was a W in New that he thought it looked cool, because it's a kind of a allusion to the little town he was living in, this record label boss. So I don't know, New Haven.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I love it.
Yeah.
This is the kind of stuff I live for. It's just like the small details.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So, at the time, you were still very early in your career. You'd done some demos, and you had released the first Andromeda album. So I just want to talk to me about how this project came together originally.
Yeah, like you said, I was a young lad. I was about 19 or something like that. 1999. Like previously to that, in my teens, I was playing in a local band, more like traditional heavy metal, thrash metal kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started doing some stuff on my own, like solo stuff, with stuff that I couldn't get an outlet for in my band. So I started doing more progressive stuff, and that later turned into Andromeda. And I was also doing some more death thrash kind of songs. And I got in contact with this guy named Wes Venedictor, who he started with a label called Wrong Again Records with another guy, and it was a very small label, but they managed to sign Eucharist, which was a pioneer in the melodic death metal scene here, and also the first In Flames album, and Mike Ammett's Spiritual Beggars.
Yeah.
And a couple of bands like that really put them on the map. And then he split with this guy, and then he formed War Music. And so I got in touch with Wes actually from an ad in some of the Swedish metal magazines, because you could send money to them, and they would send you album. Let's just buy it straight away from their label. So I bought the first Arch Enemy album from him, and then he was pretty lazy with sending the CD, so I just phoned him up, like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
And we just hit it off. We started talking about music, and just he was really into more like musicians kind of music, like jazz and metal music that had more like virtuosity and progressive stuff. And I was getting it at that age, like 16, 17. I was really getting into that kind of stuff. So we started talking And yeah, then like a year or two later, I had another friend who was also in contact with him. We were way into like the underground scene, buying fanzines and buying underground albums. So my friend had passed on one of these progressive demos that I'd done to this guy, and he got really excited about it, and he wanted to put together a band. Actually, he wanted to do a second Armageddon album, which was Chris Amott's,
Yeah.
side project from Arch Enemy. So he wanted to pair me up with Chris, like two young guitarists hungry for playing solos all the time.
Right.
And but then that fell through because I don't know, Chris wasn't really allowed to do anything with the label because apparently they owed Arch Enemy money. There was a big fight and all this and conflict. So then he said, "Yeah, okay, but I want to make an album with you, and I'll assign you some musicians you can work together and do an album." So that turned out to be Andromeda.
Mm-hmm.
But then I also gave him some of these more death thrash kind of demos that I done, and he was really into that as well. And so then Johan Liiva had just been. Now we're jumping forward maybe a year or two
Yeah.
because you had just been fired from Arch Enemy and they had gotten to know each other. Well, actually, Johan Liiva knew Wes a bit from the Arch Enemy time, and so Johan Liiva was keen on, yeah, sure, I'll do I'll do something new. No, I'm out of Arch Enemy. I don't have anything to do at the time, and then he also got Matt Modine hooked up to the project
Mm-hmm.
because Wes had released Defleshed, which he played on.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, we had a little trio, and but we never rehearsed. I just wrote all the songs. Maybe Liiva wrote a riff or two. I wrote like everything else, and Liiva wrote basically all the lyrics, maybe except for some lines here and there. And yeah, then he booked Abyss Studio B because Abyss Studios with Peter Techtgren
Yep. Yeah.
up north in Sweden. Yeah, of course, he's done a lot of good productions, great productions, and he has an older brother whose name is Tommy. So
Mm-hmm.
Tommy Techtgren had the Abyss B, kind of B,
Yeah.
and he also recorded a lot of metal albums there. And it's just like Tommy wasn't that. I mean, I think he learned a lot from Peter, but he didn't have the same level equipment and skills. So I mean, a lot of those Tommy Techtgren productions were okay, but they were not in the league of
Right.
Peter's. So yeah, that was November 2001. We went there. That's actually like exactly 24 years ago.
Yeah.
And just put the songs on tape basically. And yeah, that's how it got together. It was really just a project put together with the help of this record label guy Wes, which I was really grateful at the time. I was like, yeah, 19, 20,
Right.
and I was just excited to do albums at all, and also to do with like to play with these musicians that I listened to. I listened to the first Arch Enemy albums and also Johan Liiva in Furbowl
Mm-hmm.
and some of the early Carnage demos. So for me, it was like, wow, this is a big deal. And of course, I also listened to Dark Funeral and Defleshed, where Matt played as well. So for me, it was really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. That so yeah, you're so early in your career, and this was one of the questions we had. Is like, how did you go about getting those musicians? But it was all kind of Wes from
Yeah,
New
yeah,
Holland was like, I know these guys. You're a
yeah,
band now. Let's go
yeah,
record.
yeah. More of a project. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I guess jumping ahead. So how do you go about putting together a band now? Because I know on your most recent NonExist album, you got 5 guest vocalists on there and Chris Amat playing
Mm.
guitar. Is that just connections you built up and you say, hey, I'm doing an album. You guys want to sing a song?
Yeah, like the latest releases is just my solo project, basically, which
Yeah.
is almost was from the start. But yeah, I mean, Chris, I knew from back then. in the day of this early stuff I was doing with Wes, I also had another project that I actually had a contract for that was more like a epic progressive kind of concept album that never got released. But I had Chris Imott. Uh, he came home to me. I was living
Mm.
still at home, and he came over to our house, and we had like a jam session, trade off souling and all this stuff. So I knew Chris from back then a little bit, and then so I think I just contacted him, and also like briefly after this thing he did with NonExist, this guest solo, we actually played in Dark Tranquility together. It just so happened we played together for 5 years in Dark
Yeah.
Tranquility, and then Michael Stana, DT singer, Dark Tranquility singer. I think it was through Niklas Sundin, the original guitar player in Dark Tranquility. Because at the time, 16, I was talking to him about maybe, because I was just trying to find a bigger band to play with.
Yeah.
So I just talked to Niklas, which I knew also from the early days with Andromeda. He was doing cover art for Andromeda. So I've been in contact with him, and then via him, I could get the question to Michael, and then he did the guest vocals. And then Raga from Merciless, one of my old favorite bands, that I think I just looked him up on in the
Right.
phone book or Facebook, whatever. I just yeah, actually, because we did a Merciless cover on a previous Non-Exist album. That's how I think I just phoned him up or something, and then we started talking a bit on Facebook. And the same with the Marcus from Eucharist. I think I just contacted him,
Yeah.
and yeah.
Awesome.
But now Non-Exist is more like just a solo project. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So getting into Deus Deceptor itself,
yeah,
stylistically, it's a big departure from Andromeda, which is your prog metal band at the time.
yeah.
And so you're going from kind of pretty bright prog metal to this thrash influenced death. Do you recall
Mm.
the writing process for that? Are you just like, man, I'm a young guy, I got a ton of riffs in me. Let me just, I gotta also do thrash and
Yeah.
death in addition to my prog.
But basically, what you're saying there, I was just I just had a lot of ideas, and death metal, thrash metal, all's been like just in my blood since early. All these bands that
Yeah.
I grew up with. It was just a natural urge. So yeah, it was a bit different from Andromeda, but I got to say there is some parallels, because there are some kind of some riffs and passages are a bit progressive,
Mm-hmm.
and it could be in Andromeda. So there is, of course, still a link,
Yeah.
because it's me writing both those albums. I mean, I wrote everything on the first Andromeda album, so there are some parallels. Yeah, it's just like you say, it's a more of a brutal level of speed and heaviness and all that. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much like you said. Uh,
Lyrically, it looks like Johan Liiva handled all the lyrics, or the
yeah,
majority. I think you had one song. Did you, even though he wrote it, did you have any input on like the themes or the content, or was that just solely Johan Liiva showed up with lyrics and you were like, all right, we're putting them to these songs?
basically, I mean, we didn't really know each other, and we hadn't worked together, and had, I mean, the guy is extremely kind and sweet guy and everything, but
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really know him, so of course, at the time, I had so much respect, so I wouldn't really intervene too much.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, he wrote almost all of it. There is just some lines I helped out with, some song. Basically everything, all the lyrics are his. I think yeah, he just like just sent the lyrics, and like this is what's gonna be. So I didn't really have any input
Mm-hmm.
on that. Um, Regarding I guess you were coming to the music, but um, the music I'm kind of pleased with some of it. I mean, some songs I don't think really holds up very good, but some do. So it's kind of a mixed bag for me. But I mean, overall, I'm pretty pleased with the album. But there are a lot of things that could have been better. But yeah, it's a very young album, like a youngster's album, you can say.
Yeah. Well, I do want to touch on what I think are a couple of the standouts on the album.
Yeah,
Obviously, a Halo Askew for me.
yeah.
That's the highlight. It's got this
It's
absolutely iconic riff. I mean, Liiva's voice really fits there. God, everything comes together. What are your
yeah,
thoughts on that one? Like, do you remember writing that? How do you feel about it now, 23 years later?
yeah. Thank you for that. Yeah, I agree. I think it's really solid. I think it still works. Pretty simple song. Um, that is easy to get into. That lead riff that is in the start.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's an example of something that's a bit related to Andromeda. It could have been. It kind of sounds like Andromeda a bit, and then we have some more heavy straight ahead riffs, and then the middle section is a bit progressive. So yeah, I don't really remember. I mean, most of my songs I don't really remember. It's all a blur.
Yeah, yeah. Two
But
decades
yeah, but
later.
some stand out, like in for the, maybe connected with certain memories in your life or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. But yeah, just I think it was pretty. It's a pretty simple song, so I think it came together pretty fast.
Yeah.
Of the few live gigs we've done, I think we played it at every show because it just makes sense. And yeah, like I said, yeah, I think the voice really works there, and the lyrics also works a lot,
Yeah.
very well. So yeah, it's probably the best of the album. Also, Ebony Tower, I feel is strong.
Yes, that was the other one I wanted to talk about.
Yeah,
It's got just a great bit of guitar work at the beginning. You're doing this real thrashy riff.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Uh,
It's a bit like, I don't know, Megadeth, Annihilator, kind of Pantera, something like that. A bit thrashy, a bit proggy at the same time. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that riff. That's also a song we always play live. I mean, we don't play live often, but that one seems to be a given also.
yeah. That's one. I know you do your lick of the day on Instagram. I think that would be a fun one to see you revisit that.
I, I have done it,
Oh, okay. I'll have to go back and try
but
to find that.
I can do it again.
Yeah. um, no, you kind of mentioned it when talking about a Halo Askew. We noticed on our podcast that your guitar tone really stands out on this album. We use the word bright, and listening to the Andromeda album, I was like, oh, this is a Halo Askew sounds like it could be related to Andromeda. So do you remember like what kind of setup you had, like what guitar you were using while recording? Because that's a really nice guitar tone that you have, especially on that song.
I think it was pretty simple. I mean, it's the same sound as on all the other tracks.
Mm-hmm.
Like back then, I always used my Ibanez Roadstar 2, which was my first electric guitar that I still have, but I don't really. It's a bit. It's retired now because it's very beat up. But back then, I always used the Ibanez Roadstar 2, and I think that I don't remember really what amp. I think Tommy just set it up to a Marshall or PV or Mesa Boog or something,
Mm-hmm.
and pretty straightforward. I I, I don't know. The guitar sound. I think for the rhythm on that album, the sound is pretty decent. But I think we kind of used the same sound for the leads and the solos, which I think is a bit of a mistake because I think, yeah, like you say, bright. I think the lead sound on the album and solo sound is a bit too harsh and bright. I think we should have had a. I prefer to have a lead solo sound that is more, bit more gain, a bit less high end, and a bit more mid. like
Yeah.
high mid, so it's a bit warmer, a bit rounder. Now I think the lead sound on the album is a bit shrieky. So, but but the um, but the rhythm sound is pretty okay. We did uh yeah, two takes on in each speaker for the rhythm, and I think maybe we should have used another sound to for both those takes. No, for one of the takes. So I don't know. It seemed a bit plotted, but yeah, I think the rhythm sound is pretty okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I do want to touch on you have two very subdued instrumental tracks, Ataraxia and Nowhere. They're both
Yeah, and entrance also.
yes, and well, that's sort of I called that an overture where you're kind of giving
Yeah,
hints of riffs that are coming, but yeah,
yeah, that was the idea.
yeah, I really enjoyed that. That I thought was a really cool, clever idea.
Yeah.
Um, Ataraxia Nowhere, they're both these very gentle interludes that just kind of let you showcase some of your technical skills. But what was the thought process of adding those to the album? Because I mean, they're not thrash or death. They're just like great, gentle guitar playing.
Thank you. Yeah, there's two kind of quiet songs. Was it Nowhere and Ataraxia?
Yeah.
Yeah, the idea was to have some kind of intermezzo, to have a bit of a to have some dynamics, to have a little pause in the middle of all this because I thought it was pretty. The album was pretty straight on, brutal,
Yeah.
most of it. So it was just to have a bit of a breathing space. But also, I think during that time, maybe it's still I don't know because I don't really follow new metal bands that much, but it was really it was kind of a trendy thing also back in the day, 90s, early 2000s, to have these kind of things. Like I think Morbid Angel kind of led the way, and like on Blessed Are the Sick, they have these kind of things also where
Hmm.
there's a kind of an organ interlude before the title track, and there's also a guitar piece by Richard Brunel. And also some of the Swedish bands like Dissection and In Flames and etc. They had this kind of small pieces in between in the album with clean guitars and stuff. So I think I was inspired by that too, by other bands doing that kind of thing, just to have some kind of breathing. And then yeah, entrances. I think it's a good way you put it. Like it's a bit of overture, kind of an intro song that hints some of the themes that are coming later. Unfortunately, though, I think the album versions of Ataraxia No were pretty. I'm not very pleased with how they sound and how I play. There are the demo versions. I think are way better. And I did a little because it wasn't on streaming this album, so I released it myself, just remastered a bit, and I put it out on Spotify, etc.
Hmm.
And then I added the demo versions of Nowhere and Ataraxia because I think they're way better. And I also added some bonus tracks. There's yeah, some unreleased. There's a demo version of Eaten Alive, I think, and also another song that it was never on the album. So
Yeah. Now, you and I have kind of talked about this on Instagram a little bit, chatting back and forth. But on our
yeah,
podcast, we hypothesized that your playing style might have been influenced by Mattias Eklundh because some of your solos they get pretty wild. I know I'm specifically thinking about the song Phantoms. That solo gets pretty unhinged. I'd love for you to set the record straight.
and I think that's more kind of a chaos, like a chaos style, isn't it? Like more like Troy Asagos or something. Troy Asaktoth, or I don't know.
Yeah, it
Well, okay, so let me
I,
explain why we have Mattias Eklundh as our reference point. So, the first season of our podcast, we covered Soilwork's discography,
yeah,
and Mattias, he shows up on their first three albums and does just some wonky solos that are just
yeah,
kind of crazy and wild. So that
yep.
was our reference, and I mean, we knew he had a guitar camp and hosted clinics, and that he was pretty popular in the metal community. And given that you were, kind of a rising star and did prog metal, with Andromeda, we thought it was a possibility. But
I mean, it's not a, it's a valid, it's a good guess for sure. I mean, it's really funny. Let me tell you, actually, that the bass player from Andromeda, he's the one that transcribes all of Matthias' stuff for this camp. So I mean,
mhm.
yeah, you're in the ballpark. Because yeah, Linus, the bass player from Andromeda, is pretty insane at writing music notation and transcribing is insanely good. So that is Matthias, he always transcribes all of his crazy stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, I listened to some of the early Free Kitchen stuff, where I think is pretty cool. The first album,
Mhm.
um, and but I mean, yeah, I mean, I think it's a compliment. What your guess is a compliment because Matthias is an extremely skilled guitar player. However, I'm not really inspired or influenced by his style because it's not really my taste. To
Yeah.
me, it's a bit like happy and goofy, and that's absolutely not what I'm my kind of mentality or vibe for playing music or writing music is absolutely the opposite. So, yeah, I wouldn't know. I never went to his camp. I went to a clinic once here in town, and it was pretty cool. He's extremely funny as a just talking like it's more like a stand up comedian when he's doing clinics.
Yeah.
And I think at the end, actually, he invited people like to come up and you want to try play something, and I think I just went up and played something, and
Yeah.
I don't know why I did that, but it was pretty fun.
All right. So you've already kind of talked a bit about this, but just your general thoughts on this album. I mean, you were 20-ish years old. It's
Mm.
when it came out. It's one of the first things you really did. And looking
Yeah.
back on it now, like how do you feel about it? Like, do you revisit this album at all? And what are your thoughts?
Uh, it happens. I mean, because yeah, I did remaster thing and put it on digital platforms, so then I had to revisit it a bit. I mean, I'm pretty happy with it. I think songwriting wise, it's pretty mixed bag. Some songs are not really up to snuff, like Phantoms is, I don't know, Divided We Fall. Some of these songs are a bit flawed, I think. But I mean, overall, it's pretty okay. I have to say, like you mentioned this on a podcast, that the drumming is not really what it should be. I mean, Matti, he's really good at this kind of stuff, like just playing, really raw and fast. So he's
Mhm.
great in the Flesh, Dark Funeral, and even in Raised Fist, which is a hardcore band. I don't know if you heard them, but I don't think he was the right guy for this album because I think it needs a bit more technicality and skill and a bit more groove because it's pretty stiff overall.
Yeah.
The drumming is not what it should have been. The vocals, I have to say, I really want to do uh, a defense speech for Liiva, Johan Liiva, because I really think he is so underrated, and I think he is a great vocalist, and he's really got originality and character and charisma in his voice. I mean, you listen to, I'm really a fan of, especially the first and the third Arch Enemy album. I
Yeah.
think or his singing is amazing. It's so original and has something that not many other extreme vocalists have. I know some people can't really, they're not into his style, but I really like his voice. And but there's so many singers, and they're really technical and perfect and everything. But to me, there's so many, like, they don't have any originality. They're pretty boring, a lot of them, because
Hmm.
they don't really stand out from the mass. I mean, almost anyone can sit at home and practice the guitar or whatever instrument, and get a good technique. But so what? You need to have your own expression. That's like the ultimate goal for a musician, to have your own style, your own kind of, have your own originality. And I think he has that. The problem, though, with the vocals, which I agree with you also on Deus Deceptor, is I think there are two reasons why they're not as good as they could have been. And number one is that I think he was a bit confused at the time about his style, because I think Arch Enemy, if you consider what the vocalists they've had after him, they wanted a bit more of a high pitch, more like not so much growl,
Yeah.
more screaming vocals. So I think that's what he got into at the end in Arch Enemy. If you listen to the live album, I think it's live in Japan. I don't
Yeah.
know what's it called.
Live in Tokyo.
It Yeah, I think 19. It came out in 1999 or something.
Yeah.
He has a very different voice. Like, he's more of a high pitched screamer there, which I don't think is his strongest suit. And I think he was kind of stuck in this kind of style at the time when we did this album. He was kind of, he had just done that style, so he continued it on Deus Deceptor. And number two is that in the studio it was a bit unfortunate, because this the mics they usually were using, they were broken. So
Oh,
we had to use some kind of backup microphones, and so the vocal sound is very muffled and strange. So that's also didn't help. So yeah, I really like Johan Liiva's vocals, but on this album, it's a bit could have been better.
yeah. I think there's a rawness to his voice, which can be an acquired taste. I think, generally speaking, it works for NonExist, and I think I say that in the episode. Is I really don't mind it. I think it, for the most part, works. Sometimes it's more successful than others, but yeah, I know my co-host, my brothers, they were both kind of like, we're not digging this. But I'm like, I don't know, man. It's fine. He's got this passion and a rawness that you can't practice that.
Yeah. But and if you listen to the releases, the two albums he did with NonExist after
Mm-hmm.
Deus Deceptor, I think he's really back to his normal style, and I think he sings really well on those albums.
Yeah.
But on Deus Deceptor was kind of a weird period where it got a bit confused. I think one of the things that I really like about his voice, that is, you can also hear in some growlers, like Matti Kärki from Dismember, or
Mm-hmm.
LG Petrov of Entombed. It's two names that come to mind. Is that it's not really straight death metal vocals. It's more of a kind of there is some notes. There is actually some kind of micro tonal. There are notes. It's not really singing per se melodically, but there is some kind of pitches in the growling, which to me, I really like that. It becomes more nuanced.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a bit melodic, but still, growling, and I enjoy that.
Yeah.
But yeah, some people don't. I don't know.
Well, so now
Which your own.
so Non-Exist kind of fell apart after recording this album, but you came back a decade later, and you've now
Yeah.
released a total of 4 albums and an EP. The most recent,
EPs.
huh?
2 EPs.
2 EPs. Okay, I gotta get on that. But the most recent album was Like the Fearless Hunter. You released that in 2020.
Yeah.
Really good album. I gotta say, it gives me hints of The Haunted. It kind of gives me that vibe. I really like that. That's a great album.
Thank you.
I know Dark Tranquility is kind of your focus now, but is there any chance we'll be seeing some more Non-Exist in the future?
Yeah, most probably. Right now, I have quite a bit of material lying around, but right now I'm not too inspired to do NonExist album. I have some other things. Yeah, of course, new Dark Tranquility stuff, and I have some more solo album stuff coming, which is not really okay. The coming solo stuff is actually a bit heavier because the first albums and EP I did was very ambient and not even rock. Some of it was more like soundtrack or ambient music. But yeah, I'm a bit off. I don't really sing much anymore, so I'm a bit off for doing the growling vocals and also writing lyrics. I haven't done in a long time, so yeah, there will be a non-exist album, but it's gonna take a bit more time.
Yeah.
Because I have some other priorities right now.
I get.
But yeah, like the Fearless Hunter, also I feel I feel a bit. It's kind of a blockage because I'm really pleased with that album. So to me, it feels also a bit hard to top at the moment because for me that's my favorite non-exist album.
Yeah. No.
Which has I think it's very even. All the songs are. I'm really pleased with all the songs, and so that's also a challenge to do something at least as good.
Yeah. I got two kind of final questions. I guess
Yep.
you touched on it a bit, but like, what does your creative process look like? Do you need to shift into writing a whole non-exist album, or are you always kind of writing and riffing and coming up with ideas?
I'm always, every day when I sit around and practice, there's almost always something that comes up. Record on my little riff or whatever chord progression I record on my phone, then go back later. And a lot of times I don't understand why I recorded that. It's just like, this is garbage. So I throw so much out. So I'm always collecting ideas and riffs, and then I sit down and try to connect some of these ideas, maybe 2 or 3 riffs, and make a song out of it. And but shifting into an album, like now I'm going to do an album. Yeah, sometimes I have a general idea of what this album should be like, and then that to me is inspiring to have like an overall thought or a title. Even titles to me, it can be very, very inspiring. Just gives you an idea of what the result's going to be. But yeah, I haven't done a non-exist in a long time now, so I kind of forgot how I thought the last time. But I mean, sometimes it's just by accident. Like, for example, yesterday I was sitting around and doing a new demo, which I thought was going to be a Dark Tranquility demo. Then when I just put down the basic riffs and some of the drum beats, I thought, shit, this doesn't really fit. So that demo is probably going to be moved into the non-exist folder. So that also happens sometimes. That songs that are meant to be for one band turn out to be a song for another band. Like there is a Andromeda song called "Slaves of the Plethora Season," and that was originally meant to be a non-exist song, but then it turned out to be an Andromeda song, and you have all this kind of stuff happening. So yeah.
Perfect. Well, final question before you leave. Is there anything you've been super into recently that people should check out? Doesn't have to be metal related. You said you don't really keep up with a lot of new metal bands, but yeah, what are you listening to? What's good out there?
Oh shit, I have to pick up my playlist here. Yeah, I'm working a lot with playlists and different. Again, putting things in folders is I seem to like that. Oh shit, something new lately. It's a lot of miscellaneous songs here and there. For a while ago, I was listening a lot to Ministry, checking out a lot of their whole discography, and noticed a lot of stuff that I missed from the early stuff and to the whole career. So Ministry, so listening to a lot. What else? The new Midnight album.
Okay.
It's really good. It's more of a synthwave retro.
Yeah. No.
Actually, it's not that retro. The new album is a bit modern. But what else?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Midnight. So
Yeah. There were some new cigarettes after sex stuff that was pretty good. They're almost always very even. What else? What else? Let me see. Can't really think of anything at the top of my head right now. But there's always songs being added. But it could be old songs too, so I don't know. Yeah.
Well, Johan,
The
thank you.
latest Cure album was really good.
Okay.
I'm a big Cure fan. It was yet one of my top 3 bands in the world. And the Cure album was fantastic. Actually.
Okay. I'll have to check that out. I enjoy The Cure.
Very heavy.
I need to do a deep dive into The Cure and get all their stuff.
Yeah, you should. You should.
But thank you so much for your time, bearing with me through these tech issues. This has been a delight. Everybody should go check out NonExist. Of course, Dark Tranquility. You guys just finished up your tour. Looks like you are going to be doing a South America run in January.
Yeah, that's the next thing. Mexico, South America, and the 70K cruise also.
All right. Well,
Right.
Okay. Well, Johan,
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
All right. You have a good day,
All
sir.
right. Cheers. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.
What a delight. I truly cannot say enough good things about Mr. Reinholdz. We overcame some initial tech issues, and once we got rolling, he was expansive with his answers, generous with his time, and it seemed like he enjoyed reminiscing about his early days as a musician. Hopefully, we get to hear some new NonExist in the future, but until then, go back and check out their discography. And until then, stay metal, brothers and sisters.